First on our agenda is the consent agenda, and we're gonna add the source well renewal. Okay. Can we get a, can we make a motion on the source well renewal? Could you?
I move that we add the source bill renewal to the consent agenda.
Can we add the consent agenda? It's been moved by Ms. Moss, seconded by Ms. Miles, that we add the consent agenda to the source well renewal to the consent agenda. Dr. Cousins, if you give us just a brief on that, and
It's just a renewal for the fire system.
Okay.
So it's a multi-year renewal process. We do this every 3 years.
those in favor, show by show of hands. No question?
So the budget summary is in the consent agenda?
Yes.
The consent agenda here is just an executive copy of the consent agenda, running of the budget, correct? So we would be approving a budget, and we don't really know where the budget's going except the 2 line items. Guys, I'd rather pull budget summary out of the consent agenda. I'd like to see a more detailed report than just in-code outcome. Need to help on that, though.
We want to modify the motion there.
Yeah, I'd like to modify it,
Yes,
so
sir.
add the source well, have a motion in a second. I'd like to delete the executive summary of the budget from the approval until we can get more detailed budget from the consent.
We have a modified, good.
It has to be this month. So, it won't be approved this month, right? Yeah. We're gonna have to do that. The details.
Motion before has been modified, by Ms. Hogan, asking that we add source well renewal to the consent agenda and pull out the budget summary until we have a meeting at a later date. We have a second. Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Hogan, second by Ms. Moss, that we accept the consent agenda with the addition of source well and pulling of the budget summary until we can meet at a later date. Those in favor, show by show of hands. Those opposed? Okay. We have 5, 4, and 1 against. Motion carries. Yes, yes. So, the next thing on the agenda is the superintendent's report. Okay,
So I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda minus making the adjustments that we just voted on.
so it's been moved by Mr. Hogan that we accept the consent agenda with the addition of first one, now the budget summary. And seconded by Ms. Miles. Those in favor, show by show of hands. And the motion carries unanimous. Next thing up is the superintendent's report, and no one else.
All right, so this is the first month of the year that we are doing this. The modification this year is we're gonna do different cycles. So pre-K through fourth grade will be going this month. Next month will be fifth through eighth grade. So without further ado, Ms. Easterling, Ms. Stewart, the floor is yours. And David Henderson's coming down to snap some pictures.
Clinton Primary awards for this month. Our first student, Adrian Aurora. Adrian is always the first student to offer help to his classmates. This includes tying shoes, opening doors, or cleaning up. Adrian always has a positive attitude. Sophia Leon. Sophia puts forth her best effort into every class assignment. She is always willing to help others. Kader Herron. Kader has a positive and enthusiastic attitude. He is always smiling and happy. He arrives at school every day excited and ready to learn. The next three students are on our new program, The East. They enthusiastically and energetically went to the leadership conference last week and participated in the regional meeting with K through 12 students. Madeline Hawthorne, Inez Rogers, Carlos Hernandez. Carlos is always willing to lend a hand to his classmates. He is respectful and an active participant in the learning environment. Our certified staff of come on. Alicia Searcy. She has done a fantastic job of determining students' needs based on data analysis and integrating best practices. Our first grade team. They have excellent teamwork, attention to detail, they have a growth mindset, they are meeting student needs and creating a culture of excellence within their team. Heather Munn, Kylan Stewart, Jesse Lewis, Sherry Smith, Marcy Gully, Jalen Gully, Brandy Taylor, Gail McClinton. Lanisha Brenning, classified staff. Ms. Brenning is eager to assist and volunteer. She builds relationships with students and staff and encourages everyone. Mr. Clark. Mr. Clark greets everyone with a smile. He is eager to help and repair anything that is not working. He keeps Clinton Primary running. Haley Clark. Ms. Clark is an extremely hard worker. She is dedicated to her students. She puts in 110% at everything she does. I'd like to recognize parents now. Caitlin Harrison. Ms. Harrison supports CPS in all aspects. She volunteers her time to assist in any way she can. Our nice new car tags that hang from the rearview mirrors, she is responsible for donating her time to write the names on all of those. Ms. Charday King. Ms. King supports her child's learning by being a consistent visitor to the Parent Center and classroom. She is actively invested in the child's learning. Hope High School students spent time on our campus this summer, moving furniture, helping us get ready for the school year. Trey Hoagland, Donovan Reeves, Caden Haywood, Ella Lafferty. These Hope High School students volunteered their time this summer to move furniture, materials, and supplies and create the CPS newsletter. Thank you for your help. Grace Life Fellowship of Hope and Lone Oak Missionary Baptist Church. They have consistently donated to the CPS food and clothes pantry. Thank you for your ongoing support.
HES, now we're transitioning
As Dr. Crossley said before, we're super excited about this because it's not a very common thing. It's a big deal to get it on our hall because we don't have many times to have it. So we're super excited for all those we are going to be presenting tonight. Our first student is Aria Potts. She was great and started school even though she was nervous, and Mom was nervous too. She excels academically and is a joy to have at our preschool. She does not have to Here, I'm going to get to. We're nervous. Like I said, we're super excited. Hey, let me take a picture of this. Our second student is Mr. Carson Brown. He is kind to others and listens to his teachers every day. Okay, we have several of our certified teachers that we're gonna celebrate today. The first one is Miss Jackie Whitney. She loves her students, and she loves to teach science and keeps all kinds of pets. Next up is certified teacher, Miss Grace Franks. She is excelling in her first year as a certified teacher and cares about her students and their learning experience. Next up, we have lead teacher, Yasmin Juanez. She gets to know her students and excels in helping students learn literacy lessons. Next up, Mrs. Stephanie Leyva. She's always willing to go the extra mile for students and adds her creative flair to our school. Next step is parents. We're super excited, especially about this one, Mr. Jared Dixon. He always comes and helps when we need him, and he's a big help to our community with his free haircut back to school program. We're so proud of him.
All right.
Lakin Cortez. Miss Lakin, she is always involved with our school and her child's class. She is always willing to help with anything that we ask. Miss Kirsten Shaver, is she here? All right, there are three community helpers that we chose, and none of them were able to make it tonight. Picket Fence, Hebrews 11, and KP's Balloon Arches all helped with our open house. They made it a great celebration for us. Thank you.
All right, as we transition, as we usually do thank you so much. We cannot do anything that we do without community partners, parents, teachers, volunteering, doing their hard work. So just thank you.
Hey, now that we transition back around here, make an adjustment in our agenda, we're gonna go to AgRide, information and pickup instruction.
Yep, so we have a few different updates. We have an update that's information only, then we have a few different project agreements that we're looking at that we're really excited about and that you ought to be in the loop about. So the first is an update on the Agri building. So Mr. Henry, you provide an update to the board on where we are with Agri. Kenco is going to be here today. They had a family emergency and could not be here, but Mr. Henry.
Sure. Only that you should have a photo with some before pictures and some pictures of where we are now. What's being on schedule, schedule to be in by November, before Thanksgiving. And we see it pretty much on target. Today we got some news as well as the budget. The HVAC system is scheduled to be in the middle of September. Now they'll be in the middle of October. So we still scheduled to be in mid-November, and we plan to move the Agri quarterly to building to the operation. So I thank you for your progress. You will do a wonderful job and keep the teachers involved in all the projects thus far. I want y'all to see those pictures so if you have any questions or concerns. You're doing a great job on the project. At this point. We're still within budget. We're really impressed we did not have a change order. In other words, we not have to do something that we didn't anticipate. We have also significant money. So the project is really good. If you have a question for me or this project, what you got, though?
Maurice, I know you're doing a great job.
One thing when they're considering that project, you see back between that right there and the gym, there was a soil that was not solid concrete. We have tied that drainage to the storm drain, goes out into the Gulf.
5 different grades.
Sir?
5 different
Yes,
grades.
sir. See, you quarters, you know, it's true, that the building from gym, you got that right, you got indoor, you got the earth, you got all the surface coming in the Gulf.
I just want to say, Mr. Smith, when this project came up, I told them it better not leak back there in your office and your classroom.
I'm so excited, like, I looked at the drainage, I don't see how water's gonna get in, like, I really don't, it looks really great.
What about the handicap entrance into the gym, Maurice?
Yes, we have to read the record, read the work, because it used to go in the angle of 1945, and now it goes straight down the side, and this is a picture on that. Then
Yeah.
it come back up to our real facility. We did have to adjust that.
But everything's still going to work.
Yes, sir.
You can get the lift in, and we can get folks who are disabled in the gym
Yeah, we still ADA.
compliant. There you go. All right, thank you. That's all I've got.
Any other questions on the update on the Agri project?
You answered my question, I was wondering, which, like,
And I think we're so far within the budget, so we want to do something that's not in the spec. We want to do something standing concrete, polished concrete. We'll take down some of the walls where the electric was coming over the wall and the concrete. So we have to knock those down and probably be a hole in the concrete. So we can fill those in, polish over, especially in the classroom and hallway, in the office area, not the shop area. I think that'd be the rest of that project.
If we don't have any further questions, I'll entertain a motion.
So this one is information only.
Yes, sir.
So if we do want no other questions, we can move to the agreements.
We had action on this, yeah. Okay. So, you give it now? Give it?
The project agreement.
Okay. The project agreement, keep the project agreement.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we have 3 project agreements we want you guys to be aware of. We've talked about all 3 of these in general, some of them for over a year and a half. We have the Yerger Gym project, which is tied to funding with the states. We're funded at a 74% rate for that project for the Warm Safety Drive. The component there. The animal barn, we've also received some partial private funding for, in addition to that funding for renovation with the Agri building from the state. So we feel good about moving forward there. The last one is something that we've talked about in general from a brainstorm perspective, but we haven't moved to the actual planning phase yet, is that Yerger courtyard area. So if you remember, there are power lines there, the sidewalk is kind of broken up going through the actual campus there. We're looking at a renovation there which moves that plaza area back a little bit. It creates a parking through line there with a canopy. We got some specs and drawings for that that started all the way back with the Village project from a year and a half ago. We don't necessarily have to do all of that, but there we believe we potentially may have some money there to do something. Now, all that, but definitely Yerger courtyard area project would be contingent upon having the funds, and we just wanted you guys to be aware of it, to say, hey, we're happy with Kimco. We can move forward with Kimco at this phase, definitely for the Yerger gym project, Animal Barn. They've been on time, on budget, responsive. Mr. Henry feels very comfortable with how they've interacted with us, and those are the next two projects that are online for this actual school year to try to be completed at the first part of the next school year. So if we can move forward with a CM agreement, likely move forward with a CM agreement for the Agri renovation, that would just allow us to, A, not lose the 74% funding from the state for the Yerger gym project, because that has to be finalized by, is it November 1st or 15th?
November 4th.
November 4th, excuse me. We're not receiving any private or any public donations, as in partnership money for the animal barn. So that's just a project that we have in the books. And that Yerger courtyard area is the same. We receive no public money for the Yerger courtyard area either. But those are projects we believe we could be able to move into. So we would need an action for each separate one.
So my question is, are we approving money for this? Are we approving plans for this? Are we approving? I mean, I don't see anything but a.
Right. The only thing for this would be the construction and management team to come in and work. So there's a couple different ways you can do this. The more streamlined way, whenever you have a lot of projects in the works, is to have a construction management firm that you work with versus bidding it out every single time. And that's the angle that we're looking at it right now with Kimco, to be able to handle our needs around both of these things. Nothing will be final. You guys have final say on all that when it comes to the project itself. This just gives them allows us to say, hey, state of Arkansas, we've secured the construction management firm of Kimco to begin work with us on the Yerger gym project. Then they will release comes in at about $646,000. Yep. To give us some more gym renovation.
Yerger gym renovation, what exactly will be done to improve the gym?
The HVAC for sure. It'll be the roofing. It'll be the bleachers to be improved, to be able to create more space there. The locker room areas and bathroom areas to be upgraded. And then there's some portion, like concession stand and things that would not be covered under this, but it's a very small amount that we would cover under the building fund that we already have. But the warm, safe, and dry feature is covered. Warm, safe, and dry. So the bathrooms, locker rooms, roof, the basketball goals.
Nobody's concerned with the local.
We walked those 2 weeks ago.
Take them all together, they can be separate.
I would separate them.
Mr. President, I make a motion to accept the agreement for your project.
It's been moved by Mr. Courtney, second by Ms. Moss, that we accept the Yerger project agreement. Those in favor, show by show of hands. Vote is unanimous. Next up is the animal bond agreement.
Mr. President, I make a motion to accept the animal barn agreement.
by Mr. Gordon, seconded by Ms. Nicholson, that we accept the animal warrant agreement. Those in favor, show by show of hands.
Is that what they're saying?
We have unanimous vote
I
on
think
that.
it was.
The hearing
He wasn't on it
courtyard
very long.
agreement.
Mr. President, I make a motion to accept the American Courtyard
It
Agreement.
means they're doubling channel.
It's been moved by Mr. Gordon, seconded by Ms. Nicholson, that we accept the hearing courtyard agreement. Those in favor, show by show of hands. We have unanimous vote. Next up, we want to do the vehicles, or we
New
do,
vehicle and come back.
we do, school vehicle deals.
All right, so Mr. Henry has been working on me for some time on this, and so he has 3 different bids, and he wants to kind of discuss with us. This is for, school vehicles, so Mr. Henry will present to the board.
We have 3, bid options that we consider replacing. One is school vehicle, upgraded school vehicle. Vehicle going up the rates, 2015 vehicle, close to 150,000 miles on it. And, it's about 2 years old. Last time we purchased the vehicle was, maintenance and maintenance. And I want you all to look at some options that we have for you. We have one, policy of water vehicle, SUV, all these vehicles, 670. We have one vehicle that is on the second queue, which already been filled out. And then we have another vehicle that's filled out, just, vendors, different prices. Trying to answer your question, or y'all want me to give you a recommendation, I just got crossing them.
What vehicle are we replacing?
Superintendent.
Well, why didn't we just put that in there? I mean, it looks like we're trying to slide something through.
Superintendent's vehicle has 64,000 miles. I am fine, I want to be clear on something, I am fine driving the vehicle. Like, it's totally a company vehicle. I've enjoyed driving that vehicle. I know that it gets older, has miles and maintenance that's due on it. So, when Mr. Henry presents the different options, it's the replacement of the superintendent vehicle.
You said all of them are same.
Yes. Something, so the larger SUV versus the medium size.
These vehicles can be distributed, so.
It'd be for 16.
Okay, that's what I mean, superintendent school, person, not for person business.
Superintendent vehicle requires EP's own vehicle. Personal use.
Well, I just asked the person, being someone is used for personal business, can it be used for personal business?
Yes.
Also,
Yes,
it can be.
yes. That's all right. We all agree on that. It's already.
Well, I'm asking,
Ford,
because I didn't know.
Where's the gear?
Four.
Because I wasn't on the board, she wasn't.
The board at that time.
There you go.
The
There you
board
go.
at that time agreed.
No,
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
And
Board.
I think that's a legitimate question, I mean, I want to know.
I'm asking for that. Direction. This board.
I'm trying to think so bad.
We have the full option.
I'll just tell the other members of the board, I'm not voting vehicle for the superintendent until I see a salary schedule for bus drivers and teachers. Which we were supposed to have some idea in mid-August, and it's mid-September.
Small size.
Sorry, Jeff, man, about yours.
Two and three, I see it's the same vehicle, one.
Yeah, one of them is on the state, 39,000. already been paid out. And if you know, 60 to 90 days or longer before you receive a bill, you set it, you know, for like 41,000, you get the next day of purchase.
I can say the ones that are on that number two, I would probably say well beyond 90 days. We deal with that every year, police vehicles. It's just,
So, is this vehicle, is it okay, is it running good, or is just with an hour?
The miles that we have to upkeep, the miles that we have to.
I guess, I wanna know if they put a lot of upkeep in.
The last time we did was put brakes in, and I put a record. Money. So exactly how much maintenance, brakes.
well, I can tell you, being over the vehicle fleet with my department, the last thing you want to do is wait till a vehicle goes completely down. So,
I'm just want to comment that I think about Miss Fanny, this vehicle, talking about a school vehicle, because when we would load up and go in the school vehicle, there weren't any steps for her to make it easy for her to get in and out of them. Do you have any idea if these will have the running boards?
The, spent 24 of those, ship it, we'll pay the, explore, that's something we did start.
There'll be a wait time on the Tahoe also.
Awesome. Last time I saw it was there. That's
For all these local,
school on the road.
Which is,
Chevrolet place and the Ford place. The one that's ready for it's not open. Yeah.
I didn't know if there was any more question items. You have a recommendation,
If you want first to read it, I will. The one that's ready for like 41,
that's the one out there.
The other ones, it's supposed to fit over 50. It's the vehicle serve the members 55, members.
No more questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. President, I'll entertain a motion that we go with option number 3 of the mid-size SUV, the 2025 Ford Explorer, the range of 41 to 42,000.
second,
It's been moved by Mr. Gordon, second by Ms. Dixon, that we go with option 3, which is 2025 Ford Explorer, ranging cost between $41,000 and $42,000. Those in favor, show by show of hand. Those opposed? And we have a tied vote, so we need to still in table. Yeah, table.
That's the last one? That's the last one?
No, so sweet.
Yeah, did the consent, you're good? All right, thank you, Mr. Henry, appreciate it.
Next up on the agenda is the Agri Department presentation.
All right, so now we have the Agri presentation, so the FFA field trip, we have, Mr. McCrary here, I think Ms. Smith is also here, we have multiple students here as well. So we have a national trip, we don't take these every year, we take these sporadically, we have district funds or fundraise funds to be able to pay for this. Mr. McCrary, would you lead the honors?
Thank y'all for hearing me out. I hope I can answer any questions or concerns you may have. This is my second year at Hope, and to my knowledge, from what I have learned, talking with Ms. Smith, it has been 8 years since Hope FFA has been recognized on the national level, being the national convention. National convention is in Indianapolis, Indiana. There will be students from all 50 states and the Virgin Islands attending. This will be an excellent opportunity for our students to get to meet and collaborate with students from other parts of the nation. We're only taking juniors and seniors. There will be agricultural colleges from all over the United States that go and attend, all the major trade schools, Wild Tulsa Welding School, etc. will be there. This will be an excellent opportunity for our students to get to go and visit with these colleges, and maybe entertain a chance to go and further their education, further their trade skill there. There's also John Deere, Case International, all the big ag companies will be there with their most recent technology. Last year, friends of mine that teach in different areas of the state went. John Deere had a combine that was worth $1 million that they had set up in the exhibition hall and allowed students to go and sit in that cockpit. Hope, Arkansas does not have a huge row crop. This is going to expose our students to different forms of ag that they don't get in Southwest Arkansas. Some of the speakers this year for the opening ceremony is Kevin Lanzer. I don't really know a lot about him. And then Dr. Temple Grandin, world-renowned autistic livestock specialist. They do not build a large animal processing facility without consulting her. Very, very brilliant woman. They also might get, depending on how the schedule goes, we might get to see other students receive their American degrees. To my knowledge, the last time somebody from Southwest Arkansas received their American degree was a year or two ago, and that student was from Spring Hill. This is a unique ceremony that they get to be able to get to see. I said it's just an amazing opportunity for our students to be exposed to something different than Southwest Arkansas Ag that I can't give to them in a classroom. Expenses, I was lucky enough to find hotel rooms, 8031 a room for 3 nights. I know that sounds expensive, but these were the only rooms that I could find in the length of time as close to the convention as it was. We will need, there will be 4 rooms required. However, Perkins should cover the expense of my room, my meals, and my travel expenses with that. So there will only be 3 rooms at 8031 for that. It's 692 miles, 94 miles, something like that, from the back of the business building to the outskirts of Indianapolis. I talked with some bus mechanics, and we've got it figured for about 400 gallons of fuel with, I'm not sure what the price is up there, but we just overfigured for $4.25 a gallon. It brings it to just under $2,000 for fuel. I don't see it being quite that much, but it could be depending on the price of fuel. Registration is $85 per participant. We have myself, Ms. Nicole Godwin, a para at Yerger, one male student, Hunter Godwin, Jalen Valdez, Lydia Martin, Dixie Beard, Isabella Barnett, Marley Rader, and Shelby Gleason have all committed to going with us. So that would be 9 registration fees. That brings it to $765 for registration. Like I said, Perkins would cover the $85 for me to attend. Meals for sponsors going on the rate that I had from, I received from, I think it was Ms. Flowers, is $255 per adult, which would bring that to $510. I was not able, because of how fast things filled up. National FFA offers what they call industry tours, where they will take the student, will go as a group and visit different types of ag industry that's around in Indianapolis. I was able to find a kind of an ag history museum. It's kind of an old way of doing stuff called Concord Prairie. And they are discounting the week of National Convention to FFA members from $17 to $9 a person. At $9 is $81. And the students have requested that they go to the rodeo on Wednesday night. The price for those tickets, and I haven't been able to obtain a requisition for that because registration tickets is not open until tomorrow evening at 5 o'clock, which I hope to be able to get this done and get or somebody to get a card to purchase those tickets so we don't miss out on that tomorrow evening. Rodeo tickets are $35 a piece, bringing it to $315. The students work during the summer, raising money with Ms. Rodney. I don't know the exact figure that they were able to raise for that. Ms. Smith would probably have a better idea of how much was raised for that. But they did do some fundraising, but we are short on funds to cover everything. Like I said, the students have raised some money, and Perkins should cover my registration, my food, and my hotel room. I have put on the handout a agenda that I can give the best a month from when we leave. I plan on leaving October 22nd, leaving the high school at 4 o'clock in the morning. We'll stop for lunch at 8 o'clock, then stop at noon for lunch, and I hope to get to the hotel by 4:30 that evening. Have supper somewhere around 6, and then lights out with the students at 9. That Wednesday morning, we'll have breakfast at the hotel, and we're only 7.5 miles away from the convention center. Take us 15-20 minutes to get there from people that I know that have stayed there before. We'll arrive and check in at the expo center. 10 o'clock, we'll see what all the expo hall has to offer, along with there are leadership sessions, like many in-services for the students to better engage them in their leadership skills. Lunch will probably be inside the convention center, and then after lunch we'll be around the expo hall until 3 o'clock in the opening session, to get to the opening session that starts at 3:30, and then have supper close to the convention center, and then 6 p.m. the rodeo is at the state fairgrounds there in Indianapolis, and hopefully 10:30 get back to the hotel for lights out. 24th, where the scheduled time for Concord Prairie is 10 o'clock, so we need to leave at 9:15. We're done at Conner Prairie at 1, and we'll come back to the convention center for the students to go through some more of the expo hall and some more sessions. Have supper at 5 o'clock, and hopefully get back to the hotel around 7. And then try to leave by 8 o'clock, or try to leave by 9 o'clock on the morning of October 25th, and get back somewhere around 9:30, just depending on how traffic goes. Like I said, this is just a rough agenda of the plans, and I would be happy to answer any questions you have.
So, thank you, Mr. McCrary. This is under the amount for board approval technically. He offered to be able to present to the board because he was taking students out of state. Thought it was a great idea for him to present to the board, let everyone know that we're going to potentially go to national convention with your approval. We have Ms. Smith here as well. We can present any additional information you would like. Any questions for Mr. McCrary?
Ms. Smith, can you give me a ballpark of what the students raised?
We've got about 2,000 raised this summer. They've been squirreling away money for years. There's no
Yeah, I just want to make sure they got some skin in the game. I got no problem with it. I want to send the kids to
They
Dallas.
spent about 4 weekends this summer really working through car washes and working through yard sales and working through other things. They even made sure this year that they had some personal fundraisers, they had some personal money. Because there's been some times I went to national convention and I got up there and kids didn't have money to function on. So we can make sure they had all of that this year. So I think we should be good as far as that goes. And it takes several years to squirrel away enough money to take a $5,000 trip.
Right, got it. The other question I have is, you're a bus driver, correct?
Yes, sir.
Is the other person, the other adult going a bus driver?
No, sir. DOT regulations require me to be done in 14 hours from the time I start, and that kind of mileage running all interstate, that should be no issue.
Well, DOT is not responsible for the safety of our kids.
Right. I understand that, sir. I've driven over the road before I was employed here. Driving's not. And I know my limits. If we will, like I said, we're gonna stop for breakfast in the morning, we leave, we're gonna stop about every 4 hours, at least to take a break. With most of
If
the.
another driver, and if it was another male driver, it wouldn't change our routes or anything. Just, they
Yeah,
work together.
And I just think that's a good thing to do. I would like y'all to hunt for another male or whatever we got to do to have another bus driver. I respect the fact that you've driven over the road before. I certainly understand that. But these are kids. We need to make double sure we're taking care of it. I'll make a motion that y'all go, that we provide the funds necessary to do this.
Mr. Henry would be, I can't pull anybody.
I know.
That me being gone is one driver out already. That would be.
Got that?
Mr. Henry. That would be a Mr. Henry.
We'll let him work on it.
Yeah, it's only 10 hours.
I agree we need a second driver, just in case. And the motion, did you make the motion?
I did.
Okay, well, I second the motion.
Well, I have some more questions before we vote.
Well, I second the motion, and you can discuss it after the second.
Do we have a small bus now, or is this gonna be a full size bus?
We have a smaller bus we can definitely take, for sure. And the transportation, we technically only have 10 people being transported. And then everyone's luggage includes, what makes it more difficult versus taking a 15-passenger van. Because if you look at the numbers, you could take a 15-passenger van.
Hey, I was in national convention one year with 7 kids and the expedition of the superintendent.
There you go. So that could be another option if we want to do that. I mean, the vehicle that I drive, you can take that one.
I don't think they'll fit in yours if they're taking I didn't take them out chaperone either. I partnered with another school, so I didn't need one. Because there's only 8 seats in the expedition. But so you have to have something to call for. But you can work on either luggage now.
Could rent a little small U-Haul trailer and and put it behind, if we wanted to rent a car from, or take the use on, an expedition, yeah, however we want it, 160,000 mile vehicle is long, that's 190 miles a long way to go, that's my personal view. But if we had another vehicle that could tow a little small U-Haul trailer for luggage, I have no qualms about that.
Well, I'm not trying to say what vehicle they need to take, I just didn't know if we still have one of those smaller buses like we used to have.
We still have small buses.
This will be all right. I was just asking.
Do we have any other questions?
Let me just modify this to make it a little easier. I recommend we provide the funds to take the trip to Indianapolis for our FFA kids. And then Mr. Henry work out the transportation details.
Yeah, do we need a second? Since you already got it on the floor, you already got it, what's on the floor? One more statement, please make sure these students see Dr. Temple Brandon.
She is speaking, our students have been blessed, they've already seen that, Ms. Smith and I already talked. She's speaking like 10 o'clock Friday morning, so,
Is that the day you're coming back?
yes, ma'am. I wanted to go myself and was kind of, heartbroken that we wouldn't get to take them. But the hotel rooms are expensive enough at $880 a room. I don't want to take advantage of anybody that's going to help our students out.
Would it be unreasonable to check out the rooms and then go see her? Would that be unreasonable?
That would have us getting home probably around midnight. I don't mind driving that long or that far, but that's a safety issue.
I couldn't find anywhere on that.
We are lucky that all the kids that are going this year didn't get to see Temple last year. She came to Arkansas last year, so we were able to experience a lecture from her. It was really, in a meet and greet afterwards, which was really wonderful.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Hogan. Yes, ma'am.
So, how many people in total going? Besides 9?
9 if I don't have to take another bus.
It's been moved by Mr. Hogan, second by Ms. Moss, that we provide the funds for the students and staff to go to the trip to Indianapolis. Those in favor, show by show of hands. We have unanimous vote.
Thank y'all
Be
very
careful.
much.
The next one is building student lab.
We can, but election updates are really simple, no action required, that is just, you'll see there, I shared it and reshared it with you guys today as well, so 8 or 9 row table that has all of the board zones and elections and timeframes and all that. It's the memo that worked with our attorneys are working with the county clerk. The county clerk and Oklahoma schools had a different dates on the next election cycle, so essentially, if you look at number 1 and number 2, is because of Ms. Wisconsin's passing and the appointment of Ms. Milas, the timeline would go that. So the next election for that would be this coming up May, that would follow the cycle it's supposed to follow. The county had it on a different cycle. I wanted to put this on this agenda as an FYI, so you guys would be aware, because there was already starting to be some conversation about it here and there from just people in the community about elections and what the next election for the board would be. So I want to make sure you had it in front of you. Information only has been shared with you. The next election for that position will be May of 25, and that term will run through May of 8. That's all.
Mr. Fenton.
Yep, so this is also informational only. There's been a lot of discussion about special populations and special education. I just wanted to provide an overview so you guys can have that. We have a big job working with the board and covers multiple different areas, and this is one that always comes up. So there's multiple pages here, on how we serve, what we serve, and enrollment in different areas, professional development and upcoming professional development, caseloads, all those things. We've talked about staffing, we have staffing update in there. At this juncture, the only position that we have available, we have one high school position that we're looking to hire. I thought last board meeting that we had filled all those positions. We have not. We need one sped position in the high school. We have two sped teachers in the high school. We're looking for a third to replace Dr. Adib, who had to go back to the Philippines. In today's packet, we have two classified positions that are available. We have vetted, it would take it all the way down to just that one sped teacher in high school we would still be looking for. So I want to give you an update there. There's additional information that's good reading for you guys to see on all that, and wanted you guys to have that at your disposal. Any questions you have, entertain that as well.
We're gonna continue to have questions about special ed. I'm wondering how you can service students who have a minute requirement at the high school with one special ed teacher who is self-contained. So she doesn't handle the other 50. You know, she may have 10. And I guess I could look there and find out exactly what she had. But then, you've got one inclusion teacher covering the minutes of 55 teachers. Now, when I was freshman, I don't see how you can do that and do it with fidelity. The concern I have is the solution recommended by DESE. Just because DESE says you can do it doesn't mean you ought to do it. Of having people who are not connected with these students having their books. Then what you do when you have an IEP meeting, you got to have a special ed teacher there. There's only one. So now you're taking the minutes out of the inclusion class. You're supposed to be giving kids, how do you make that up? And then we haven't replaced the number of special education teachers we had in high school. And we lose another one at Clinton Primary. Now, I realize how hard it is to hire a special ed teacher, but it looks like we're having a hard time keeping them.
Right, and so, yeah, if you look at the, getting number of the pages, but I'm gonna say it's page 3, the resignations from last year, you see some of the reasons there. Then you see some of the trainings there. So like the training from UDL and other training from co-ops or other needs, we have them scheduled, they're there, whether it's novice, whether it's.
But UDL is not a special ed initiative, it's a teacher initiative.
It is, but it's facing for special populations for that inclusion. So it goes hand in hand with our inclusive practice.
And are the maximum caseload folders per teacher or per teacher with a parent?
Per teacher.
You sure?
Don't misspeak. That's the way I understand it, 25 cases.
Is that right, Ms. Pike?
I don't want to misspeak either.
Yeah.
We can do some research here.
Yeah.
I did so.
Okay.
What do you have?
If 25 for these special ed teachers at CPS, Earl Henry, Cass, YMS, is the caseload over there, the maximum caseload, is that for just the special ed teacher or the special ed teacher and a parent? So I think the questions that I've had about special ed are not answered in any way, shape, or form
caseload numbers with Harris.
Our service in the high school minutes with inclusion, especially if you take the special ed teacher out of 55 IEP coverage. And I'm worried about all the campuses. I mean, just because DESI says that you can hire somebody from the outside who doesn't have daily contact with these students to keep their books and keep them on track, doesn't mean you ought to do it.
So I have caseload, and whenever we have our follow-up budget meeting, we can do this as well. We probably have some other regs to approve as well, especially science curriculum. So there'll be a couple of items here. So the caseload with para, service and number with minutes, specifically around inclusion.
Yes, around inclusion, can you, the question I've got is, if it's inclusion, is the direct instruction by the teacher assigned the classroom for the subject, does that count for the minutes that student's supposed to get in inclusion?
As long as that student is in, or that teacher is in consult with a special education teacher, yes.
So they could have a 2-minute conversation with one class, and then it would count.
This ever under the standard that we would set, DESI does have that as an option on one of the models. And the last one I have is the IEP conferences associated with that.
Yeah. When we take teachers out of the classroom, especially inclusion classroom, for IEP meetings, it looks to me like it's difficult for that special ed teacher to make sure that those minutes are being provided for that student, for their students, multiple students. So anyway, if you could kind of address those things for me down the line, I'd appreciate it. I just think we don't have everything we need. You know, I mean, look, I know we have, as far as I know, and obviously I haven't gone through the rosters of every school or every club. And we've got one student that I know of that's participating in an extracurricular activity that's not your normal football, basketball, things. Are we making sure that our clubs and our extracurricular prom, all those things that happen at the high school, are we making sure that our special populations can participate in those? And how are we making sure of that? I mean, if you send a letter home for a club, it doesn't say anything about how do we're going to accommodate your child to be in this club. Most parents would look at it and say, well, my kid probably can't be in that club. So
I would say that's a good point. We talked about that earlier this year and have started making some steps in that direction, specifically around transitions. And I think there were some parents earlier saw and talked with about how those transitions happen, how we work with external partners to make sure those transitions happen, and even what skin in the game that we have around making sure that happens.
making sure.
Yeah.
One of the smartest students I had when I was teaching was a 504 kid. Have we got any 504 special ed kids in GT? I mean, gifted doesn't just apply. In fact, it applies to both of those programs.
The older
It's
time
in
is
the,
twice exception.
yes, it's twice exception. So I'd like to see us address that though. You know, I mean, if you look at the number of kids, you're talking about, and it's still a little high. It's about 11 to 12%. Should be 10, correct?
Trying to get it down. Yes, sir.
Right, and I know how we're trying to get it down. I don't have a problem with that either. I understand how we're doing that. But we need to make sure that we're meeting the needs of those kids and beyond, because now I'm starting to worry about the same thing I worried about when I was principal. How do we transition these kids? What are we doing to transit? And I saw a Facebook post about some transition work. Are we doing enough? And does every parent that has a student who has special needs know about how we transition kids or how we should transition kids? And are we doing everything we can do to transition kids? And if you talk about transitioning them into living a life that's independent as much as it can be, that process has to start way early. And parents have to be informed, have to know, because there's some white boys out there for that are incredible.
And I can provide an update on that. I can almost do it myself at this point. I've been pretty involved in this process around DHS and how they're handling some of those transitions. I can also provide a transition, or excuse me, a plan or an update on transition in the next week.
You know, everybody on board went up. I'd like to see that stuff.
We can make it happen.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. Good.
All right, ARP. So there's a lot of discussion about ARP right now because we are butting up against the allocation deadline, which is the end of this month. There was a report that came out. There was a lagging report on the ARP dashboard that said we had around $1 million to spend. We did not. So we have about $600,000 to spend, which is still a lot. But we are looking at a couple of things that we know that we were kind of holding out on, which is one of them, science curriculum. We have quotes. I believe we've received multiple quotes on that, at least around $300,000 for science curriculum materials. We have other online platforms for CAS Hub, Connect Care, those sorts of things that can count that way, current credit pieces. So we're, headphones for students that need to be updated. There's a lot of learning loss allocated money that will be spent by December, which is the deadline for expenditure, and allocated now. So we're getting justification from the State Department. Matter of fact, we're waiting on one to come back to us right now. We feel really good. We've done a lot of work on this, especially recently, getting that across the finish line. I didn't give you a one pager like I did for the others because I'm still waiting on some of those approvals to come back from the state. Probably could give that to you when you meet the next time. So I could probably put that on my list for an ARP update. I'll make it real simple, the one major, all the things there. But I really do. I think we're in a really strong position to be able to close out September, spending every single bit and be well over that 20% threshold. I think probably closer to 27%. I don't want to be wrong. That's going against me, so but I think we'll be in good shape. Misty, thoughts? Okay. Any questions on that?
Looks like we're going to go back out to your student.
We have student hearing and personnel as well. If we want to go to executive personnel, I'd probably go ahead and do student hearing. If we didn't want to go to executive personnel, just think about time and flow of things. That's up to y'all. 100%.
Purpose on personnel. We can go to executive.
I make a motion to accept the personnel package.
It's been moved by Mr. Oates, second by Mr. Corbin, that we accept personnel package as presented. Those in favor, show by saying aye. That's approved.
Now, the last thing on the agenda is student hearing. We have quite a few of them. So if you're in the audience or crowd, just know how this works. There's some in and out associated with this. Everyone who's been here has requested a closed hearing. The board is, I'll brag on them in public just like I do in private, they're really good about hearing students out. They want to know what you have to say. They want to know what parents have to say. The process is entirely terribly long, but it is a positive one. So please bear with us. Hallway, we'll have some areas in the hallway, but you cannot stay in here if it is a closed meeting on the board and the presenters can. So we'll tap in this one by one.
All right.